You're told that Nikola Tesla died of old age in a lonely hotel room. What they don't tell you is what happened in that room while his body was still warm. This was not a funeral. It was a cold, calculated harvest. 80 trunks. That is the official count of the data rendered inaccessible by an authority that remains unnamed. 80 trunks filled with the blueprints of a future you are not allowed to inhabit, while you pay for every kilowatt and every drop of fuel. The keys to a wireless, self-sustaining world are sitting in a vault that officially does not exist. They didn't take his clothes or his books. They took the mathematical proof that your entire reality is a curated illusion. You are living in the shadow of a grand heist, built upon the silence of a dead man's mind. This is File004, the Great Seizure Room 3327. The lock was turned in 1943. We are here to witness the opening. The contents of those 80 trunks were not the cluttered thoughts of a declining mind. They were a structured blueprint for a global shift. Within the silent archives, one concept stood above all: the ability to draw power directly from the medium surrounding us. While your current world is built on extraction and combustion of finite matter, these documents described a system that utilized the very fabric of space. We call it the etheric harvest. The blueprints detailed a method of resonance that bypassed the need for traditional grids. They didn't bury these papers because they were impossible to build. They buried them because they were impossible to tax. If a single device could power a city without a wire or a meter, the economic foundations of your century would crumble. This was the true motive for the seizure: the protection of monopoly, disguised as a matter of national security. The most public face of this oppressed history stands as a skeleton in Long Island, Wardenclyffe. To your eyes, it was a failed telecommunications tower. In our archives, it was the first node of a global nervous system. Tesla was not trying to send messages. He was attempting to vibrate the very ground beneath your feet. He understood that the Earth itself is a giant conductor, a spherical capacitor waiting to be triggered. By injecting specific frequencies into the crust, he could turn the entire planet into a medium for energy transmission. This meant that any person, anywhere on the globe, could simply stick a rod into the Earth and draw power. No wires, no grids, no gatekeepers. The financing was pulled not because it didn't work, but because the moment the first switch was flipped, the concept of selling energy would have vanished forever. Tesla was not just an inventor. He was a student of deep time. In the hidden archives, we find his obsession with the Great Pyramid of Giza. He realized that the ancients didn't build tombs. They built power plants. Wardenclyffe was designed using the same harmonic ratios found in the pyramids. Tesla understood that to tap into the Earth's energy, a structure must be mathematically aligned to the planet's diameter and its electromagnetic pulse. He was attempting to replicate a lost technology that used the ionosphere and the crust as a massive capacitor. While your history books mock his late interest in ancient structures, we see the logic of a master engineer. He wasn't looking at the past. He was recovering a science that was intentionally erased from your collective memory. The authority sees these notes because they prove that the modern power grid is an inefficient cage compared to the wireless ocean of the ancients. The seizure of 1943 was not the end of Tesla's technology. It was the beginning of its compartmentalization. In our archives, we tracked the migration of these 80 trunks into projects that officially never occurred. While the public was taught to rely on combustion and wires, a breakaway fraction of your society began testing the limits of the vacuum. They didn't just want to transmit energy. They wanted to manipulate the density of space itself. The record suggests that the mathematical anomalies found in Tesla's notes were used to explore the boundaries between dimensions. You see stories of vanished ships and distorted time as urban legends. We see them as the raw, unrefined results of a stolen science being tested without a moral compass. The files were not hidden because they were dangerous to humanity. They were hidden because they gave those in control the power to exit the very reality you are confined in. You might ask why these files remain classified in an age of supposed transparency. The answer is not found in science, but in the architecture of your global economy. Your entire civilization is synchronized to a metered pulse. From the oil in your tanks to the lithium in your pockets, you are part of a closed-loop system designed for scarcity. Tesla's 80 trunks contain the formula for abundance, and abundance is the enemy of control. In the 2100 archives, we see the 20th century as a period of artificial hibernation. They didn't just hide the patents. They altered your academic path to ensure that no mind could independently rediscover the bridge to the ether. You are taught to see empty space as a void, when it is actually a reservoir. They gave you the internet to connect your minds, but they withheld the power to free your bodies. The frequency of your world is being kept intentionally low, tuned to a broadcast dependency. The most terrifying aspect of the Tesla archives was not the power to light a city, but the power to influence the human biofield. Tesla understood that the brain is a delicate receiver, tuned to the Schumann resonance of the earth. Within the sea's trunks were notes on how low-frequency waves could be used to heal tissues or enhance cognitive functions. This was the ultimate forbidden frontier. An energized population, healthy and mentally sharp, is a population that cannot be easily manipulated. By archiving these medical patents, they ensured you remain dependent on chemical interventions and external stabilizers. In our 2100 archives, we see that your era was characterized by a deliberate disconnection from the planet's natural frequency. They didn't just hide a battery, they hid the blueprint for a superior human condition. In your present day, the sky is not empty. It is a battlefield of invisible frequencies. What Tesla intended as a global tapestry of life-sustaining energy has been inverted into a web of surveillance and mental interference. The 80 trunks contain warnings about the misuse of planetary resonance. Today, you see thousands of satellites and towers, but they are not there to provide the freedom Tesla promised. They are there to maintain the artificial frequency we call the electronic cage. While the ether remains untapped, the atmosphere is saturated with signals designed to keep your biological clock out of sync with the Earth. In the 2100 archives, we look back at your decade as the peak of the frequency war. The stolen blueprints were not just used to hide energy, they were used to define the boundaries of your perception. You are living inside a broadcast, unaware that the station was hijacked 80 years ago. The final technical documents in the seized archives did not look like power plant designs. They looked like maps of the ionosphere. Tesla realized that the upper atmosphere was not just a protective layer, but a massive energy reservoir. By pulsing high-frequency waves into this region, he intended to illuminate the entire planet and control the global climate for the benefit of agriculture. In the archives of 2100, we see that this knowledge was indeed developed, but the intent was weaponized. While you see unusual weather patterns and localized environmental anomalies, we see the echoes of a stolen science being used to stabilize or destabilize regions. They took the hand that Tesla offered to feed the world and turned it into a fist. You look at the clouds and see nature. We look at the data and see the signatures of an invisible frequency, a ghost of the 80 trunks that were never meant to be used as a weapon. You might wonder where 80 trunks of wood and paper are hidden in a world of satellite surveillance. The truth is, they were never meant to remain physical. In our 2100 records, we see that the Tesla archives underwent a process of digital transmutation long before your internet existed. The papers were not burned. They were converted into an encrypted language that forms the backbone of a separate, invisible infrastructure. While you are given a version of physics that hits a dead end at the speed of light, another branch of science is operated with the equations found in room 3327. They didn't just steal the past, they patented the laws of the future. The reason these files are not released is simple. To acknowledge the content of those trunks would be to admit that 80 years of human industrial struggle was an unnecessary choice. It would reveal that your scarcity was a manufactured lie. We are approaching the end of File004. In our era, the year 2100, these 80 trunks are no longer a secret. They are the foundation of our world. But for you, they remain a ghost story, a tactical silence maintained by those who profit from your dependency. You've been told that the universe is a cold, empty place where you must fight for every spark of energy. We are here to tell you that the universe is an ocean of infinite potential, and you are simply being kept from the shore. The locks on room 3327 were not meant to last forever. They were meant to last just long enough for you to forget that you were ever free. But the frequency cannot be fully erased. It is in the ground beneath you and the air around you. It is waiting for a generation that refuses to be metered. The archives are leaking. The signals are returning. The question is no longer what they took from Nikola Tesla. The question is, are you ready to take it back? This archive is no longer just a collection of data. It is a movement. If the frequency of this message resonates with you, mark your presence in the transmission. Subscribing to this channel is not an act of following. It is an act of declassification. By joining us, you help pull the veil back on the history they try to bury. Leave a signal in the comments. Tell us which room of the archive we should breach next. Are you here for the energy, the history, or the truth? Your interaction keeps the signal alive against the noise of cage. The vault is open. The choice is yours. Stay tuned for the next transmission.